You're listening to BFM 89.9, the business station.
This is Frida Liu, and I'm speaking to Krishna Rajagopal from AKATI Consulting in our Tech Talk segment on BFM 89.9, and we're talking about Computer Forensics 101. So what exactly do computer forensics investigators look for?
Hi, Frida. Well, basically there are three types of data, right? I like to use different types of categories. Usually the most important thing is active data, and then there is archival data, and then there's latent. So active is basically what you and I can see, programs, files, on the OS, on the hard drives. And archival data is basically what we've put on the backup storage devices, yeah? And latent data is where this is the interesting part. Most people don't even consider this as data. Yeah, this is where you actually need a specialized tool to get this data. Deleted files, overwritten files. For example, in certain file systems, we've got something called a file allocation table, master file table. These are basically under latent data. And of course, a whole lot of other things as well. But these are the general categories of data that we'll be looking for.
So basically data you thought you deleted is not deleted.
Oh, never. The rule of the game is this. Nothing is ever deleted. It's only overwritten through time.
We've seen some stories appear because of data they thought that they destroyed reappearing. Okay, who would hire a forensics investigator?
Anyone, actually. Anyone needing this service. But mainly law firms usually contact us when their client has a need, as well as SMEs and large companies as well. The rule of the game is, of course, we're not actually expensive. Yeah. So don't wait to the last minute. Or we had one client once who contacted me and said, we've actually had a break-in and we've confirmed it. And I asked him, when did the break-in happen? He said, well, it happened about a month ago. So,
and what are you telling me now?
Yes, I said, what took you 30 days? And he said, well, basically I sent my IT guy in and he confirmed that the guy is guilty. So now we can go for it. And I said, what did he do? Well, he opened up the laptop and he went through all the files and he found those evidence. Now we have it. We can charge him. I said, there's good news and bad news. The good news is he's guilty. Bad news, you can't do anything about it because you've just tampered the evidence. So what we usually advise clients is don't touch anything. Yeah?
Just like CSI.
Yep, don't touch anything. And because it's very important that it has to be done forensically safe. That's very, very important. Because otherwise, the last access dates are changed.
Okay, law firms, SMEs, of course, banks as well.
Yes, even government agencies as well. They could contact us, and we could assist them. Usually, the identity is always anonymous, yeah, and we usually maintain privacy.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what are the common misconceptions a computer forensics investigator will encounter? Common situations. Is anything common?
No, nothing is ever common in computer forensics. The first thing I think people think that we drive a Ferrari, we race through the road, jump over, and something like CSI. Well, unfortunately, no. The second thing is I think a lot of young grads have this impression that I'm going to take a certification or a course or a degree, and right after that I'm going to be, expert forensic investigator. No, it takes time, and usually it goes through a mentoring process, and you've got to work your way up, and usually at the end of the road you could be an expert witness, and it's rewarding.
Okay,
but it takes time.
It takes time to just build up that experience. How long did it take you to
We've been involved over a decade now.
Over a decade.
Yep.
Okay, so, and what tools would you use?
Oh, a lot. Well, one of the de facto tools in the market would be NCASE. Yeah? As much as I hate it, but we have no choice but to use it. Yeah? And then there is FTK, Forensic Toolkit. And then there are R tools from a company called R Tools. There's tools that we use from a company called Paraban. And also hardware. Like we use a particular hardware called SF5000. It's no longer in the market, but the same company makes other tools as well, which makes imaging from a hard disk very quick. We use a technique called bit by bit. That means the source and the destination of the copy that we've made is exactly identical. So SF5000 just makes it really quick. You know, the older days you could start an imaging and then sleep and wake up the next morning and it's still not done yet. But now it's really quick because it really copies in gigs per minute. So that's fine.
Okay. And is the investigator limited to just computers?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Well, we've got a few areas of specialization. So we've got data drive forensics. That deals with all kinds of hard drive storage units. And then we've got email forensics, which is a nightmare for a lot of forensic professionals because of limitations in the email system. And then there's network forensics, where you actually need a background knowledge of how to read firewall logs, router logs. And then there is mobile device forensics, Blackberries, iPhones, iPods, GPS. That's a big thing now, yeah, because many criminals use GPS in their cars nowadays, yeah. And then there is a new area that's also coming up, which is, of course, yes, I forgot, image forensics. That's the usual flashy and controversial area, where you've got superimposed pictures and videos and stuff like that.
It wasn't me.
Yes. And usually there are new areas now coming up, which is satellite forensics, where you do actually forensics investigations are carried out on the satellite transmission. And then there is PDF forensics, because PDF seems to be a very popular thing. So you actually investigate within the PDF file to see if there's any malware within it.
Wow.
And then there is also a new area, which is memory forensics. So you investigate the memory content itself. So we have a lot of areas of forensics, but usually most professionals will specialize in a couple of areas, and one or more. But it's impossible to usually find a professional that has specialities in all the areas.
Okay,
Yeah.
We're not at that level yet as well, and there are too many issues.
Too many issues, and this field of science is actually driven by the industry. Very strongly. So we've got the wonderful world of China that creates phones all the time, and we've got phones that don't have a name, So we'll go like, okay, what operating system is on this phone? So that's always a challenge. Yeah.
Right. So basically, a client would come to you with a situation, and then, of course, from there you identify what the right tools would be. And
Yes,
then
of course.
these, of course, are the array of tools. I'm speaking to Krishna Rajagopal from AKATI Consulting, and we're talking about Computer Forensics 101 on BFM 89.9.
BFM 89.9, the business station.